Freebird. Coming to you now quite live from Peanut Desk Studios, a Bad Eurocus production. I'm Sascha Saintevic. With me is Briano Hawk. Briano, say hello to all the lovely people listening.
Hello.
Give a fuck off to all the not so lovely people listening.
Ich kann nicht verstehen.
Smooth. real smooth. Not as smooth as today's topic, though.
Yeah.
Soul music. Are you ready to jump aboard the soul train?
Soul train.
No, okay. So let's get. We had a conversation about Elvis not that long ago. We mentioned soul a little bit in that.
Much better.
Because there was this soul music, at least what publicly became known as soul music, developed to sort of grew up around the same time.
Yeah.
So
Elvis is the king of rock and soul.
Yeah. Okay. Let's not go that far.
Hey.
Let's not go that far. So
He had some soul.
Soul really hit it big though around the same like in the 50s when it started here, but it was still though a little bit underground. By underground I mean like in the segregated communities. It was seen as, let's just call it black music at that time. And I mean I know artists who came up and started to sort of, some say like as whites started listening to quote unquote black music, you know, it gained popularity and it developed into different genres, and we'll get into all of that. But a lot of it is sort of put in with two different main influences what developed soul. Anything that you look about it, they'll say it's gospel had some effect on it. So like the way we're talking about like the sort of, you know, the big time black church experience, and sort of changing what would normally be gospel music into more like keeping all the enthusiasm and putting more of a secular theme around. So, you know, you're not talking about Jesus or God, you're talking about love, you know, like things of that nature. So that sort of had a big influence on how soul developed, you know, like so very much it's sort of, but everybody always sort of shouts it very much like what they call the African American experience at the time.
Yeah.
So like it has all the enthusiasm, it has like the beats. It has like all the things that were seen as being degenerate by the white audience at the time. And, you know, like in many ways, Elvis and other artists sort of borrowed a lot of that and made it more acceptable to white audience. And they all realized, hey, this is actually kind of cool. We can actually enjoy this.
Yep.
But I mean, like, okay, well, what's your opinion like as far as like this, the development of soul and the merit of soul, the value of soul music?
Soul music.
Like especially like if you want to start with the early years.
The thing is, I mean, soul music, yeah, you already covered it. I mean, it was started in the 50s, mid to late 50s, doing its thing, you know, whatever, mainly black artists, or not mainly, it was black artists.
It was like you can't separate, like this is like for people talk about like is it white music, is it black music?
Yeah.
Soul,
but I mean,
its origin was
as you stated it's soul music is basically a mixture of the gospel music, so church music, and, you know, they just put a little bit more flavor to it. I mean, instead of, well, I can't say more flavor to it, because, I mean, if you ever been to a Baptist church, you know, or, you know, down southern, Louisiana or something, oof, you got some soul. They still got soul there. But, I mean, you know, that's what it is they took songs that they knew from the book.
So like southern blues.
And they mixed in what they, you know, the rhythm and blues. And they put, you know, a little more something to it. So, I mean, you could hear that in all the greats in soul music. I mean, you can name a ton of them. You know, my favorite's actually Ray Charles. I mean, that guy got some soul. Good,
and he's usually very much identified with it.
Yeah.
Like, and also very much influential in making soul mainstream.
Yeah, but if you want to go with a little bit more wild, man, in the soul, you got James Brown.
Well, James Brown, James Brown is an interesting character in all of this because he, like, soul was already established when he came around. So, you know, he's the godfather of soul. Yeah, is what he's given. But in a way, like, soul already existed. Like, but he transformed it into this sort of cultural momentum.
Yeah, I mean
that it became. You know, like I don't even want to say like he popularized it. He. Even though, like, you know, like people like Ray Charles, you know, we could put that, we could put Little Richard, we could, you know, we could start name dropping everybody we want.
But I mean, that's the thing.
But
I mean,
in a way, he had a huge influence in the way soul was perceived.
Yeah, the thing is, Little Richard
funk.
was coming up, or, you know, he was already somewhat big. Well, James Brown was coming up. Ray Charles was already doing this thing too.
Yeah, I mean,
they were all around the same thing. But I mean, there are artists who you can say were soul music, or at least they started in soul. And I mean, they went to the more, popular music, not really pop music, but more popular music, or they went to the smoother side, like you think Marvin Gaye. Mm-hmm. You don't really think of him as soul too much as you hearing the things like, oh no, you listen to that stuff when you're making love. It's like, yeah, well, that's some soul music.
Well, slow it down and you get more of a jazz sound.
Yeah.
You get more like a modern jazz.
But I mean, that's the thing is Marvin Gaye, he had a really smooth voice. He hit the high tones, all that. He compared Ray Charles to Marvin Gaye. It's two separate things there. James Brown to, Isaac Hayes. You're going to get a whole different sound there.
Chef from South Park. It's him. He voices it.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is Isaac Hayes was a soul artist. Was it, I can't even think of his name now. Curtis Mayfield. Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Otis
Redding.
Also in that.
Which, I mean, I was actually, as you heard me playing or practicing to do the Dock of the Bay, which is actually one of my favorite songs. Mm-hmm. I can't really name too many Otis Redding songs, but I know that one. But I have been hearing a lot of his stuff, and god damn, that guy, it's like you could hear it, and it's, just this, the passion. And that's one thing about soul music, at least to me, when you, listen to it, there's something about it to where it's a very emotional thing. I can't sing soul. As much as I may want to try, I don't think I could ever pull it off. You're putting your, everything into it. You're putting your soul.
It's an emotive genre. I mean, hence the name. Yeah. And it's influenced sort of in the long term. A lot of people might be listening to this. They might be, the crowd that's not really into, the Marvin Gaye or the Ray Charles. But the influence of soul on all these other genres that sort of came in the mid to late 20th century and beyond. Today.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's a subtle one, but you can, if you listen to it, you can totally notice that it's there.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is, I mean, if you think about it, soul actually, as you're saying, it influenced many things, but it also influenced things that you probably wouldn't really think about. Right. It's like, oh, how is that, how was that influenced by, whatever, like psychedelic. There's a whole genre of psychedelic soul,
Psychedelic in a lot of ways, a lot of the soul musicians, as they went through the 70s and a whole cultural revolution that happened, a lot of them ventured towards the...
Yeah, but I mean, you wouldn't, it was like, oh, how the hell is psychedelic music to soul? It's like, well, soul music did go through a psychedelic phase. There's a whole psychedelic, psychedelic soul thing or whatever. But I mean, there's also the not really, I can't call it a subgenre. It's just different people playing it than what you expect. So they have the whole thing called blue-eyed soul, which is white people singing soul music.
It was white people taking we're coming from a segregated society, or they just started desegregating.
Yeah, so I mean, like Elvis Presley, I mean, he's the king of rock. Yeah. But he had some soul. Some of those songs, you could really hear what the hell he's doing.
A lot of his origin, as we mentioned, is similar soul, like with the gospel music, Southern blues, rhythm and blues, which we'll talk about this essentially because contemporary R&B, that sounds different than what rhythm and blues was back in the day.
See, but I'm glad you made that thing, because R&B is not. I mean, it stands for rhythm and blues, but it's not rhythm and blues. That's what we're talking about.
That's why people heard me probably throughout in the previous podcast. I usually say the full rhythm and blues when I'm talking about what's in the 50s, and 40s before that. Because in a way, it kind of predates soul.
But I mean, that's the thing.
When I say R&B, I'm talking about the 90s and 80s.
Because soul is a mixture of rhythm and blues and gospel.
Yeah,
that's all it is. So rhythm and blues, which is blues music, and just rhythm is just music in general. Well, but I mean, that's the thing. I'm glad that you actually specified that the difference between R&B and rhythm and blues. Because I mean, it says rhythm and blues. It's R&B. It's like. Yeah, listen to
that's what's often to contemporary.
Listen to what R. Kelly, who's rhythm and blues in a sense, he's pop, and listen to Ray Charles, completely different sound. Yeah. Listen to same thing, R. Kelly and Otis Redding or Isaac Hayes,
right? And even at the more contemporary level, someone like Usher, who's often thrown into contemporary R&B, sounds very different than what you hear in the 50s. Yeah. Now the reason is. What we refer to as, in that category, R&B, the one that really hit it big, in the 90s, it's it's a development from sort of like the electro dance music that you see like in the 80s. So it's like electronic dance music where you know, like there's like it's more about the rhythm as far as like of a dance club or something like that. Like and in a way, sort of like it's an updated disco format. And you know, like thrown in with like, you know, whatever rhythm and like whatever, you know, rhymes you want to do about, like, again, our last topic, love. Is the big one. But like that's what contemporary R&B comes from.
Which is all Marvin Gaye.
Yes. He's the one that started it. He's a happy fella, as his name suggests.
Yeah.
but that's so like, that's why I make that distinction. Some people that may not know is when I say, like, I'm always saying like, oh, well, you know, like when we talk about Elvis, I'm like, oh yeah, rhythm and blues, this and that. They're like, why doesn't he just say the initials? Why is he saying the full? Why is he being a pompous asshole saying the full thing? It's because I make that distinction so people know. Like when I say R&B, I'm talking about the stuff that came like in the last 30 years. When I'm saying rhythm and blues, I'm talking about the original, which, you know, you could say like it's the grandfather of the contemporary one. But it's not exactly, it doesn't sound the same. You know, like just like if I was talking about, you know, screamo music, okay, you could say like rockabilly is the great grandfather of screamo music in some sense. Sure, you can make that argument, but would I really equate them like from what's now and what's then? Of course I wouldn't. So that's why I draw the distinction. But rhythm and blues, the original, like it influenced, you know, like a lot of soul music. So like you said, like rhythm and blues, the original, and gospel. And the reason why it's more emotive is both of those are very much the purpose of those genres aren't like what you saw other things that were competing at times. So a lot of the music that was mainstream, especially like without dance, it was more about like dancing. It was more about like things like, and the dancing was very structured, very rhythm. It wasn't like about, you know, like I really feel this music, I'm gonna move how I want to. It was more like step 1, 2, 3, 4, step 1, 2, 3, 4. And occasionally you have like those dances where you like shake with the hand, you do that. Like, so it's like very like Macarena. Like you put your right foot.
But then that's the thing. I mean, what you're talking about is when soul music was coming around, you know, the blues, all that stuff, black music, as they say, when that was coming around and it was underground, you had all that teeny bopper stuff in a sense, which is white music. You know, it was the really happy kind of whatever. That's where you see them doing the what was it, Charleston or the whatever, you know, not necessarily Charleston, but you do the stuff. You have the I don't even know. I can't think of any of the dance names right now. Normally I know them. But you know, you have the jitterbug and all, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
the
we're flamboyant, sort of, in a flashy,
and it's like, it's all, you know, really upbeat and happy, and and then you go to like the deep south, and you have a really small, sweaty ass club, and it's packed, and everyone's just going crazy.
And you see people like there is like there's a rhythm to it, so people are moving, but they're moving it rhythmically, they're feeling the music, but there is no rhyme and pattern to it in a way that there was with the other one. So it wasn't like step, right? Like to with the other one. So it was more like you feel it. It's like
you feel the beat.
So it's hard to describe because it doesn't work. Yeah, there is no like logistics to it. You just you feel the music and you know you feel it. It's like it touches you to your core that way. And a lot of that is because of where its origins are. You know, like we always like, I'm not a religious guy, you're not a religious guy, but I don't deny that people who have, you know, like the church experience when they go through sort of this trance like moments.
That's what I say. Like,
movements.
You know, Baptist churches, whatever.
Exactly.
Geez,
and that's
man,
sort of like it's soul.
You feel it.
Yeah, and soul translates that momentum, that experience, like that sort of transcendent experience, into a secular setting, into a non-religious setting, where like all of a sudden you're like you just feel it through your body. You're like, I don't know what this is, but I'm vibing with it. Like, Like so, that's like the best way to explain it. I know for a lot of people, like let's say if you never heard a single song that hits you that way, you might be like, this conversation is alien to you. Now, luckily, I'm damn sure there's not a single person listening to this. If you heard a song that really like from the first note that just kind of hits you, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
See, and that's you know, I don't know. That's one thing for me with soul music, like old style, you know, old school soul music. It is damn hard not to feel what the singer, you know, the artist is putting out there, because you know, at least for me, you know, from the very first note that they sing, you either feel the pain that they have for the thing, or the passion that they're putting in there, or whatever. So I can't really listen to soul music without getting like, oh man, I really like that. I want to get that emotion. I want to be able to sing like that, because just like blues, same thing for me on blues. It's just when they're playing, there's certain things they do, or vocal wise or whatever. I'm sitting there just like, I wish I could get that to emote through my singing and get people to feel that same thing. Yeah,
and it's an interesting thing, because you have soul music now, music that I guess would be put under that, but it's not the same as it was 60 years ago.
Oh yeah,
like it was 70 years ago. It's because the experiences are different, and some people would say like, because as we were talking, like there was white music, there was a blue-eyed soul sounded different than like soul. Like the African American soul music, the Southern. So and part of that was like, you need to understand the environment that they were that they came up in. So like the blue-eyed soul musician,
blue collar or whatever,
he feels it, but he's not going through the same experiences as the other guy. The other guy, they're singing from a place of like real emotion. On the level of what it is they're trying to sing about. Like now, I know nowadays that's been diluted a bit, so no one's really singing from a place of like, I'm segregated from society. What the hell? Like it's not, that barrier isn't as wide as it once was. Like we can argue how far it exists to what degree. The degree has shrunk. Let's at least agree on that. To anybody listening, like let's at least it's not as much of a gap. So that's why I feel like a lot of like, if you try to be a soul musician now, like you'll still emote passion, but it's been transformed to something a bit different. And and this transformation also happened as it was growing up. Like as we came out of the 50s, out of the 60s, that's why I started to branch off into other things. Well, so like it wasn't any longer about like, like I'm underground, I'm the underdog in a way. Like it started becoming more dance vibe. It started becoming more about love, and like the passion translate, where it was like passion in the church, passion about society, like finding your place in society, and then it became more of like like finding your own passion as an individual.
Now, we've been talking about more of the old school soul, the 50s, 60s, whatever, when it was, really more black oriented, whatever. Let's move on a little bit from there. Well, now some people may argue, they may say whatever, may think I'm stupid, but I don't care. Modern day soul, as you're saying, some artists are still kind of doing that same, old school feel style. Like if you listen to Joss Stone, I don't know if you've ever heard her, but
I have.
God damn, she can sing. You can feel it, emotion in there and stuff. You really like, feel the passion she's trying to put in there. Amy Winehouse,
she's soul jazzy,
very soul-y and jazzy, stuff. Like we've mentioned that she was talented as hell.
It's inner demons that really got her, and it's an unfortunate thing. Like because she, I don't think we even saw her at her prime yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's So you had those two artists who were more of a modern, recent times in a sense. I think Adele at some points, you can really, like when she gets into it, you can kind of feel some of what she's doing. I
think she probably has a talent to do so. I don't think she does.
No, she doesn't do soul. I'm not saying that.
Pop.
Yeah, it's just you can feel like on some of her slower songs or whatever. Some of her songs, at least the ones I've heard, or live performances, you can feel a little bit more into it. And I was like, she really wanted to touch it and do a song in a sense, in the style of soul. I think she could somewhat pull it off, or pull it off quite well. But that's just my thought. But like I said, yes, the Joss Stone, Amy Winehouse, and I know there's other ones who are more modern that, they still have that same old school kind of feel and sound, but, they're doing a little bit more modern taste to it. So, that's what I just want to say. I just wanted to bring that up pretty much just to, it's like, yes, that's feels still there, but it's still
it's a different time than what its origins were, and you can't expect it to be. So if you tried, it wouldn't seem authentic. It's just you can't replicate. Every time is sort of frozen in its own little niche, and you can't replicate the environment that something is in. You know what I mean? So like it's just not going to have the same feel. Even if your themes are the same, even if the beat is the same, it just doesn't have the same impact that it does.
Yeah.
Now you said let's move a little forward, and I think this is where James Brown gets the Godfather of Soul idea, because he took soul and he started making it like there was a shift in the message, in the theme. Like it started becoming more about get on up, like
get on up,
like it wasn't
machine.
Yeah,
Get on machine.
Yeah, and he was like, "This is a man's world." Like he's like doing the same sort of passion, the same sort of drive that you hear in soul music, but it started. Clearly, there's a change in the theme of the songs.
Oh yeah,
and because of that change, and again, like barriers are now breaking down, so now it's no longer. Off in the corner somewhere, and you gotta wait for the blue-eyed guy to come in to sing it. Now people can go straight to James Brown. So, I'm not even saying like James Brown is the originator of this thing, but he certainly became the face of it. And like the talent of it. And he had and he very much had like the sort of church preacher's voice when he got on a mic, like to really get get to you. But like again, like within the context of the song. So it was like a non-religious setting, but it was
Here's the thing with James Brown. He was a great showman.
Exactly. He's fun to watch. The dude is fun to watch.
Yeah, he could sing, he'd entertain you, do all this stuff. I mean, I don't know if he did the whole thing or I can't do it. No, I don't know if he did that his whole freaking career.
He would do it in live performance. I don't know, not every single one.
But I don't know if he did it like he did it his whole career or it was more later on to where he's like, hey, I'm going to try this and give a show. People are here to see a show. It's entertainment. Yeah. That's James Brown. That's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And so, he went from the really sensitive, in a sense, soul stuff to more the upbeat soul kind of funk. Yeah,
and that's where the development of funk sort of like came out. And funk was more about like the dance floor. And that's where you kind of start seeing like the more like what would later on develop into like the electro music that would become just mainly oriented around
but I mean you
disco and all that.
Getting into the funk, you can't overshoot George Clinton in the Funkadelics. They gave you a show as well.
It's right there in the name. And again, what I like about James Brown is like his music sort of if you look at like the lyrics of it, like the musicianship, it's not within what he's saying. Get on up doesn't say much of anything.
Yeah.
Like the words themselves. But I like when like it breaks down the middle of it. It's like, hey, you like that sound the way it was at the beginning? You want to try that again? Listen again. And it goes, din, 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 din. Like they like go back to how they, like when the song starts to slow down a bit, it's like no, I don't like this at all. I want it upbeat again, and then they just start it over again, and it's like the middle of the song.
Yeah,
and it makes it fun. It makes it interesting. That's where like James Brown's influence on it is like it's okay. Like within soul, there's an upbeat side of it too. It's not all about like passion, but like passion from sort of like bittersweet. Element of it, which is what a lot of early soul was about. Like, whereas he was like, we can just have the sweet the whole time. We just have a good time throughout the entire song. And I know his other songs will touch.
I mean, like I said, he
but I'm
did,
talking about this stuff.
He did a lot of things. I mean, like I said, he had his soul. He never really lost that kind of soul feel sound, but he also put that really happy funk in there, and he entertained you. You go to a show, you're not leaving disappointed. You're leaving with like, hell, that's a great show.
And to people who are probably shouting into the monitors or whatever you're listening to this on, I'm fully aware that a good chunk of his energy came from the fact that he was like probably 80% cocaine.
Oh yeah,
it was something like he was on something. I know he was on a lot of things.
Oh yeah,
like so I'm not discounting that, but even before all of that part in his life, he was clearly talented.
Which is something to say, because I mean, as much as stuff he was on, he was still able to get past the show and entertain you. And all that. I mean, I'm way against drugs and stuff.
But but look, if we talk about artists in the 60s and the 70s, he tried to find a sober, straight edge artist, and that makes you not going to see it. In fact, we'll talk about at some point the reason why straight edge developed in the 80s was as a reaction to the like overt drug use.
I mean, just going into real quick thing on artists in like 70s doing the whole. Being affected by drugs.
Psychedelic.
The psychedelic, but the whole, I don't know why I blanked out on their name now, but the whole song, the Inagata Davida, the dude was so freaking out there on LSD and drugs. It was supposed to be in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
And it just in the Garden of Eden, baby. I was like, what the hell was that? He made his own freaking word because he was so gone. Well, so, whatever.
And again, that like goes to it, and like in a lot of like what I just mentioned about James Brown's, like the lyrics, at least like in like get on up, they don't matter. Most of the words are like him just saying get up over and over again.
Yeah.
But it's like you feel the music of it, and it was interesting how when as soul developed over the decades, like you sort of had like music. A lot of it was shaped by like the area, the region where you're in. So you still had like southern, and like southern soul had a distinct sound, and then you had like Motown, which really dominated up in the north,
in the Detroit area.
Yeah, exactly. Like which had a bit,
which like Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah, exactly,
Motown,
exactly. So which is what a lot of people actually, even though like you had like this other development soul, but a lot of people identify Motown with like soul music.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But it came. But that was really more like the mid-level. So like within that chronology.
For the longest time, I heard Motown. For everything. It's like, oh yeah, and it's Motown. So I thought, oh, that's a whole thing. That the whole soul, the whole kind of R&B kind of thing is just it's Motown. That's the style. That's what it is. It all comes from that. And it's like no.
Well, it was a development of that. It's like the other way. A lot of people they'll have it backwards. Motown isn't what creates soul develop, like Motown came from like all the soul musicians that were there. And I mean, like I said, like, and regionally, like it had a distinct sound. Again, one was like deeply segregated south. The other one is like developed in the north. So of course the sound's a little bit different, but I'm saying like that's usually what a lot of mainstream on is when I think of soul, like at that time. Especially like in the 60s going forward. Like Motown is sort of where you're at. Yeah. Like, and it has a little bit more of a sort of like a smooth sound.
I mean, easiest thing to think. Well, not easy thing. I mean, like I said, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Whatever. You still got like the Jackson 5. Yeah, of course. Type of thing, which is like, well, Jackson 5 wasn't really soul, but they were kind of that Motown umbrella.
I would say that the Jackson 5 early on. They had very much a soul element, but like more of a like soul transitioning into let's say funk, disco, and then pop era.
Oh yeah,
and like it was going on. And I know we'll have probably a whole episode on disco at some point. And and how much I'm not a controversial thing to say. I'm not a fan of disco. Like, and a lot of people say like, well, how can you praise soul now and like disregard, like, and even give like funk. So like it's due respect, but like on disco you can shit on. Listen, I can understand that one thing led to another, and a lot of these bio elements from things that I like, I can still dislike the end product. Like glam, a lot of glam was influenced by David Bowie glitter rock. I can give David Bowie his credit and then, shit on Motley Crue in the 80s. Like, there's no contradiction there. I don't like what they did with it. Yeah. Okay? So that's one thing. I just want to get that a little pet peeve of mine, get that out there. That annoys me when people talk about this sort of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But like, definitely, like, there is a trend, though, within soul musicians, as you see, like, especially when it started coming into the 70s, they start transitioning into other things. It didn't seem like the genre is like sustainable over a long period of time.
Because the times out. I mean, that's the thing.
And the times were changing. Like the music, like soul has, at least like if you listen to the original one, it has a bit of a slower. As I said, like when I say smooth, I mean like what the tempo is different. Yeah. And for a lot of people, once you get through the 70s and like people still don't like that sort of tempo a little bit slow. But then you start getting closer and closer to the 80s. People want more upbeat things. They want fast, not just upbeat like as in happy, but upbeat as in fast.
Well, I mean that's
and
the
loud.
Thing is
and soul is not that loud all the time.
As it started,
sometimes
late 50s, late 50s, soul. Yeah, slow. It was more derived around the emotion of the singing of the person singing. The song in a sense, telling that story of either heartbreak or whatever. Not even heartbreak, just sitting on the dock of the bay, whatever. But I mean, that's the thing is it tells you that it's slower, so you hear it and you feel the emotion.
It gives a narrative.
You move on to the 60s, you still have some of that thing, but they start to break off because psychedelic area in the 70s, the 60s rock stuff. So soul artists who are becoming bigger, they started moving more to that the rock kind of thing. Not really rock, but a little bit more upbeat to it.
Yeah.
And so it evolved that way. And so as you got your core soul artists, you have all the new ones popping up who still use that same flavor in a sense of the soul, but they start putting the new things in there. And then that's how you move into the funk and the psychedelic stuff and just everything else. And so, just in the 60s alone, where it was like the main thing of soul is 50s, late 50s, 60s, it developed so many different ways just in the 60s alone that when the 70s came along, you got your disco or your funk, it's a really big thing. You were like, well, how the hell did this get from this or whatever, and that's the thing.
Good.
It's amazing how fast it actually did change and spread. Well, and then, you get into the 80s stuff, whatever. But I think the whole thing was disco, as crappy as it is, came from the funk. And it's like a lot of funk riffs and, bass riffs and stuff. So you get that whole, disco sound. Like, this is, whatever. And then they screwed it up somehow.
The thing is, like, it's never just one element working on it. It's a combination of things. And also, as some instruments become more popular than others, they become overused more than others. Yeah, they become overused more than others. And genres, especially around this time, whatever lasting influence you want to say that they have, attribute to them. Yeah. A lot of them within themselves fizzle out pretty quickly. So funk wasn't around for long.
Yeah.
Disco wasn't around for long in the grand scheme of things. I'm sure it felt like it was there forever for the people living and not liking it.
It was only around for a couple of years.
Yeah, but it's like it wasn't if your genre is mainly there, like glam wasn't around for long. It was there for like a decade. That's not a long time.
Yeah.
In like if you look like development of like music history.
Yeah.
It's not long. It's a fad. And like a lot of these things, like that's why I said, like no matter what lasting influence you might have had on somebody, to take it and turn it into something maybe more productive in itself, a lot of genres that were developing, including like the things that soul went into, that it influenced, didn't last around on their own. They transitioned and evolved really quickly. They had a very short life expectancy.
Oh yeah,
on the most part. Funk, and we keep going back to funk. Funk, in like a very recognizable sound, it didn't last that long. Like people moved on, and I know they'll say like, well, you could still see influence over like even into the 80s. Yeah, but
even today, but
even today, but it's not the same. Just like like soul music is still around. It's not really the same.
It's not the same feel.
A lot of what would be characterized like, well, this has a bit of a soul sound. Yeah, but it also has a large pop influence.
Yep.
Like just by necessity, because that's just the way that the sound now is.
Yeah.
Like
unless you're old school, it's an old school artist who really could, do their thing. It's not going to be, a big thing now. And all the old school people are dead, unfortunately.
Right, and it's,
all the greats, they are,
well, I can see artists today coming out with like sort of pay homage and coming out with a purely old school soul song. As far as like building a career on that, you're gonna have a harder time finding an audience that's gonna buy it and finding airtime that's gonna play it. Because it's not, and and I know there's stations out there purely dedicated to soul music, but they'll play the old, old stuff. They won't really play any of the newer stuff.
Looking recently. I was looking online just to see just soul stations. I couldn't find one that was just soul. It was soul and R&B, soul and whatever, soul classics,
jazz,
soul classics jazz with R&B, It was all in the same genre in a sense as soul, R&B.
And if you go to most record store, they'll put
whatever
like soul.
That's the thing is there's
R&B
not like
altogether.
even online as today modern day, you would think you can find just one thing of like one certain style of music because that's all you really want to listen to. You don't want to listen to the offsprings of it or whatever. You just want to hear that one thing. It's hard as hell to find. I couldn't find it.
Right.
You know,
I mean, I'm sure somebody's gonna.
Yeah, I mean,
link to it.
now,
sure it's
now,
out there
yes, like I said, now there's stuff like
but
if I go like look around,
telling.
really, you know, like on whatever iHeart Music or Spotify or whatever the hell, maybe I can come across to someone who did a station because it's created by users who just went like, no, I want to put all the soul artists, and that's it. All the greats out of James Brown, whatever, and only in a certain, time of year, and that's what it is. From like 62, from 59 or 50, whatever, 62, and that's it. Then, but I was looking around and I didn't find it easily.
Right. But it's like a lot of times you don't see many. Now, there's a lot of, for instance, like, we live in the South, so like we're not that far from Louisiana. We're in Texas.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of jazz musicians that are still out there, like people who just do jazz music.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you don't see jazz getting like the same sort of
jazz musician. Singer.
You don't see jazz hitting the airwaves like the way it would. A lot of times it doesn't have that marketable value that it could with like a mainstream audience.
Yeah.
And people understand whenever I say this, I'm not like either bemoaning the fact or praising the fact. I'm just saying that's how it is.
Yeah, jazz music.
I'm not arguing the way the market should be. I'm just saying that's how the market is.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Jazz music. I think that's one thing we should discuss at a later date.
Yeah, we will. But it developed it's older.
Yeah, it is older, and that's the thing is,
and it was
some soul was
thrown
in with the jazz and so on and so forth. But like I said, that's a later date.
Yeah, jazz is
amazing how much they've
diverged.
Yeah, how much they diverged, the different styles, different whatever. Yeah. Like I said, it's a later date thing. I think.
Soul, I think, in the shorter time period that it existed, within its first few decades, it still exists. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's like that. But again, it's very morphed, very different than what it was. But and that's just the thing. Like compared to something like jazz, there are many subgenres in jazz as well, and it's older. But the change isn't as dynamic as it is with soul. Like all the different like elements of soul that you see like in all these different genres, be it like the way it went into funk, disco, pop, electro music, contemporary R&B, pop music, even some elements of rock music. The way jazz, you recognize it's still jazz. Like no matter what decade you go into, you're like, that's jazz. Soul, it's a bit different. Like you're like, I can kind of see the influence from like one decade to the next. So it's sort of like seeing a species mutate, like 10,000 years apart from each other. You can sort of see that this is related. This species is related to this species. The further 10,000 years you go back, the more it becomes something different. Like with soul, it's like the further you go 2 or 3 years back, the more it's something totally different.
You're using your science nerddom to do a music analogy. Come on now.
I have been waiting 2 years in order to be able to use my education in this podcast.
Your nerddom.
I'm saying it's like
you see, guys.
You see, if you look at the way the genotype of soul music develops over time.
That's funny.
Protractor.
Your protractor. Anyways, but yeah.
No, that's just and I think part of the reason why this change happens because it did, unlike jazz had its own audience and it sort of it remained in that audience. But
jazz had Coltrane, man.
Yeah, it didn't hit the mainstream the way soul did. Once something hits, people like it, people take it. People want to change it up a little bit. You like to put the whole thing. And again, this is usually a good thing because that's how you get more genres. That's how you get more things. So I totally support this.
Yeah.
But that's just the thing. Like it captured people's interests. Yeah. Really quickly and to a really wide extent, and that's why it ended up branching off into all these things.
I mean, that's definitely the big thing with like soul, whatever. It was the fact that it was so broad from the beginning in sounds, in a sense. Like you had your main thing, but it's like so many influences just to build that soul to easily turn into funk and all the other stuff. So yeah, it's a very, very wide. Good.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like a lot of times. So what we're saying, like somebody might bemoan the fact because they're like, well, it was good music back then. Here's something that all these old timers need to understand. As much as you might not like it, you can't go back.
Back in 1940.
You can't go back in your life as far as like age wise. You can't get younger. You can't turn the clock back on the way music develops. And that's like, and even I say like, I call the 90s like the golden age of alternative music. We can't go back.
Oh yeah.
You can't redo it.
No.
It wouldn't have the same feel. You can have the exact same sound come out now, won't have the same impact.
Yeah.
It just, you cannot go back. It just, I don't give a shit who you are or what you say. I am telling you this, you can't go back. So even you want to start like a new golden age of soul music in the modern day, which is like heavily influenced like that, great. It's going to become its own thing. It will not be like it was in the 50s because it can't be. It's a different environment. It will have a different sound because we have different technology on which we're going to play it.
Yeah.
Like we have different ways we're going to mix it. We have different people who are going to be listening to it with a different perspective and outlook and a different, and again, when it's a genre that's so much about feel, it's so much about the emotional impact it has on you. The emotional impact it's going to have on you is going to be relevant to the experiences you bring to it.
Yeah.
And that's a really important thing. So the experiences that a modern day audience has, even the ones that were alive 60 years ago, to appreciate the other one. You're not the same person now you were 60 years ago. You don't have the same ears now. You don't have the same mindset now.
Yeah,
hopefully. Yeah. But hopefully. And that's good. And people sometimes undermine how much of an influence that has on the way you hear music. And the way people hear music, listen to music, and interpret music is what drives how music is made.
Yes.
Like what gets made and what continues to be made.
Yeah.
And that's why it's a lot of times like we're praising soul, but in a way I'm not calling for like a repeat of it because it wouldn't be the same thing. I think
that's one thing. I mean, every conversation we have, every episode we do get it, get fairly deep into the whatever we're talking about, genres, things like that. But we're never talking about it as it should get back to this.
Yeah,
it's because we appreciate the old, and we'll love to see what it turns into. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of it may turn into crap, but it's you don't know.
Crap, there will always be a gem,
but you'll never know exactly what it's going to turn into unless you see. You don't have to let it develop because it's like I can shit on disco, but if it didn't have disco in the middle, we would have never gotten out of disco. Later on. I mean that's the thing is you can always praise one, but never don't expect it to ever get to that. Like like you mentioned, you don't want to have soul of 50s, 60s now. I mean, it may be get some people, small crowd, but it's not going to be.
It's not going to be.
It was.
Again, it's not going to be the same. It's just it's never going to be the same thing. Which is what I don't know. I sometimes going to know when people start doing the whole. Well, this decade had the best music. This decade had the best music. The moment you start going to that argument with me, or you start making that point, I know you don't know a single thing about music. Like, you just don't. Like you cannot quantify this in the way that you want to. First of all, everybody thinks the music of their childhood, the ones that they have the most emotional connection to,
not me,
is the best.
The music of my childhood is crap.
Is the
you
80s.
Got crap Metallica who sucks.
But is that?
You didn't think I'd be able to work them in. I was trying to figure out how we're going to do this.
I was waiting for it.
Yes. You opened up the door for how crappy freaking Metallica is, you freaking sons of...
I always do in some way, to be fair. I always give you some kind of a launching pad into that. But this isn't no music that you...
I was worried I wasn't going to be able to crap on
this isn't music, though, that you grew up on. You grew up on Prince. In some sense.
Yes, I grew up on...
That's the music of your household. In some sense, and I don't mean like your parents played it, but the music that you were exposed to. I grew up
on 60s rock, Stones, Beatles, whatever, Prince, Boyz II Men.
Hey man, Boyz II Men,
and then finally Nirvana.
Yeah, once it came along, and again another thing, like I can shit on glam music. What came after glam? We finally all woke up right there, and then the alternative boom hit the airwaves, which is what I grew up on.
Yeah.
Like which influences my outlook in a lot of ways. And some people say, like that's crap.
Yeah,
and that's fine. You can say that, but it's like the one thing I just want to say, like when people start having arguments over which genre is the best, which one's it's not even about which genre, which generation has the best music. Shut up. Okay, we can all, you can throw Justin Bieber for it, like with the current generation in my face. I can throw, find some pop singer from the 60s and the 70s that sang about complete crap that's still hit the number one charts.
Oh yeah,
like we can have this argument back and forth, but it's a boring discussion. Nobody should that doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, but I mean that's
I'd much rather look at it from the perspective of like the way we've been doing, like especially with soul music. Like even though I know a lot of people listening, don't go out of their way to find soul music.
Yeah,
and I think even the ones who don't, they still can appreciate it.
Yeah,
it has and the remnants that are still around of it.
Yeah, I think that's one thing we're good at doing though is kind of, as we pick our topic or we're talking about our topic, we kind of push it to the modern, like kind of what it works for with modern days in a sense, like because
that's where we're coming
and
from.
Stuff like that. But
I can't pretend that I'm not.
No, yeah, but I mean
50s.
that's where we're coming from. But we don't just sit there or we don't just sit here and go like, oh yeah, let's talk about this one spot at this point and not move from there. Well, we talk about it and we bring it up to the
right.
to modern times because that's what we're doing and that's where we're from or whatever. But still, I think we do a fairly decent job in the fact that we try to honor, I guess, the image of the past and somewhat present.
Well, the parts that, in my opinion, I think is worth honoring. If there's some elements that I'm just not digging, I'm just not digging. Like none of that really matters to me.
Yeah.
Like it's not, I'm not gonna. It's like I try not to be. I try not to put a voice on this microphone that's not my own.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be like, you know what? Like Elvis was like the greatest thing ever. If I think Elvis sucked.
Yeah.
Like that. That's one thing. Same thing. Like you're never gonna hear me say like, well, a lot of people that listen to rock music kind of like Metallica. Let me tell you how much I love Metallica. And like just to appease them. No, I think bring me a Metallica fan in here. I'm gonna tell them. I think they suck, and I think on that point your taste in music sucks.
Yeah.
They can argue back with me. Yeah. Totally cool.
But I mean,
but that's just what I am.
But what I mean is just it's the sense that we talk a lot about different things, and I think it's cool, or the fact that we really do concentrate on the one, not the one thing, but the one we try to stay on the one subject in a sense to get to get it out there to because
in a way,
I don't know. Look, basically what I'm trying to say in a sense is people who listen to this, they may think we don't know what we're talking about. They may think it's crap. They may enjoy what we're talking about. Whatever, just the entertainment, the banter. But I would, tell people in a sense just to, go listen to some of the stuff we're talking about, like the music wise, not what we're, not our opinions on it. Get your own opinion about whatever we're talking about. But if you're listening to something and you don't agree with it, but you've never actually gone out there and listened to it, like soul or whatever, I'd say listen to it first and then get an opinion from that. Don't like, oh, well, these guys don't know what they're talking about. That's crap music. It's like, did you ever listen to any of them? And don't just listen to one. Open up your horizons in a sense and listen to a couple different things and genres wise. Because you'll be amazed, or I'm always amazed at least, by how one style of music goes into so many different things. I mean, we've done it multiple times. We've talked about how glam led into punk and so on and so forth. Talking today about soul, how it goes and went into so many different things, and the further you go back, it all leads to whatever to so many different things. And I think the fact that there's probably some genre of music out there that kind of started it all, but I mean, it's damn near impossible to find it because you go back to classical stuff, Mozart and all them. They were influenced by somebody, by something,
Yeah, but a lot of that is lost in history. And it's always interesting because something like, let's say like we're talking about soul right now, so let's just stick that, like the way it developed, like we can talk about its origins. Okay, there was a point in which there came the first set of distinguishable soul albums. However, that exact moment when whatever it is that preceded that is sort of lost in history.
Yeah.
Like in a way, like we can guess an influence, like, oh, well, it's got a bit of a gospel sound, it's got a bit of a rhythm and blues sound. And clearly in like the southern blues sound sort of had a really good impact on it as well, and an influence. But we're just putting pieces together. We're like detectives coming after the murder, and we're putting it all together. And that's true of any genre, because most of it isn't recorded. Even the ones that within recorded history, like when we talk about the hip hop, and whenever we have a hip hop episode, it happened within recorded history. There are people alive today who were living at a point in which there was no hip hop, and then living at a point in which there was hip hop. The middle period between those years. How did it exactly happen? Again, we piece it together, but it's not recorded step by step. And the same goes for soul, same goes for rock, same goes for metal, same goes for any genre.
The one thing with, this is just my own, theory in a sense, my own opinion. But like with soul music, I think you can actually somewhat trace it back to like slavery times, to where they're doing the lines, or they're doing the, whatever, they're in the field working, and they're singing. And they're, singing about the Underground Railroad and whatever, the way to get things out, get the hell out of there and stuff like that. But I think that's somewhat, you can push that towards soul music in a sense. And it's not just because, they're black. I was like, yeah, but I mean, there wasn't, if any, I can't tell you, but I don't think there were any white slaves.
Well, so, you can talk about that. Slavery stretches long period of time. Yeah. At some point, you will find whites who were slaves. I'm just talking. You're talking about the American slavery in the South.
And they sung to tell the stories of their past or whatever. And I think to me, like I said, this is basically just my own opinion on it. I think soul can kind of be pushed back to that because they are singing about their history.
Southern blues can. Traces its origins to that. And Southern blues is, let's say, James Brown is the godfather of soul. Southern blues is the godfather of a lot of music. Oh, yeah. or American, music that developed in the 20th century.
Yeah, Muddy Waters, not him.
Yeah. So it's, and again, like the best definition of soul, like at least the early soul, which we discussed earlier, is when people say you can't really separate it from the African American influence within America, within a certain period of time in American culture. And that's why I said, like, as the times changed, that experience changed, the music changed. As more people, as the tent widened and more people came in to put it it changed along with it. And I think that's one reason why it became so versatile and adaptive, and it branched out in so many things. As in comparison to something like, let's say, jazz, which, and I like jazz. Like jazz fun, but
some jazz, but
some jazz.
I mean, Kenny G, come on.
Yeah, some jazz. Oh God, it lingers. like some jazz is a little too much. But jazz music, as far as there's an emotive development because music is an emotive art.
Yeah.
But it just. It doesn't have that same sort of impact. Part of the reason is because early jazz, there are no lyrics. I'm just going to put out that.
It's movement.
It's more about music. And it's not so much a participant. You don't participate within the music the way you do with soul. With soul, you sort of one of the big defining elements was the reason, the gospel thing, the singer will interact with the crowds and they'll sing the chorus and then and they'll say things back to them. And that was a big element in the early soul. Yeah. You don't get that in a lot of the other genres. It's a spectator sport. Yeah. You sit here, I'm enjoying the guy on stage is singing, as opposed to the early sort of a soul experience. They were especially James Brown was a good incarnation of it, later on. Yeah. When he brought that in, where he's you're a part of the show in a way. He makes you feel like you're part of the show, even though of course he's the main attraction. But there is that element to it. Like we said, the preacher on the pulpit, the southern preacher who's so there, and can you feel it, brothers and sisters? Yeah. There's that element which you didn't have within jazz. And whenever people feel like they're a part of something, they're a part of the show, it inspires them in a way that just watching something doesn't. You know what I mean? And a lot of shows today, in any genre, they do borrow off that sort of experience, whatever it is, pop, rock, hip hop, R&B. It's more about if you're a good artist, and you have the best live shows are the ones where you feel like there's some level of interaction, no matter how illusionary it is, but there's some level of interaction between you and the artist that's giving the show. And I think the early elements of that did begin within soul, and that's why it resonated with people.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's a good place to be.
Good place to be.
It's a good place to be. Smooth jazz. Batty Records production. Anything else you want to influence on soul, modern day soul?
No, like I said, I mean, soul I don't know, there's certain things about it, for me at least, that, you really feel, what you're, singing or hearing or whatever. That's why I've stated before and earlier today, I could never be a soul artist. I could never be a soul singer because I don't think I can push that feeling, that passion into my music, or my singing or whatever, to have the crowd feel it, either, feel the downtroddenness or whatever, or the, get up and move, just get your body, energized and stuff like James Brown. It's hard to get anybody to do that, and music is a catalyst that will get your body naturally to, change emotions, energy, non-energy, things like that. But like I said, it's something about soul music for me that's just really like an emotional journey that can get you to do a damn lot of things, But I don't know. That's just me, I guess. I don't know if everyone else feels the way, because I can't say that.
And this might be my my closing point on this, because we're getting towards stuff like the end of the show. But whether we're speaking with soul or anything else, when it comes to music, I think for a lot of people, why it's so universal, across culture, like there's some form of it, is because it's a medium in which the artist finds a way to sort of articulate your thoughts and your feelings and your experiences in a way that you yourself might not be able to, but you instantly recognize it when you hear it.
Yep.
And I think that's what good music does.
Oh yeah.
Like in a way, like it speaks to you because you hear your own voice in it. Or a voice in a way that you wish you could say it.
Yeah.
Could you think of it, or were you talented enough to think of it or articulate enough? But you don't need to, because it's right there laid out for you. Sometimes it's things that come out in Koenig, but sometimes it's like you find something that has already been said in the past that perfectly summed up whatever it is that you're feeling in the moment, or whatever it is you were feeling, and that's when it hits you. Like that's so like inexplicable feeling, I think, that you were trying to get at, like where you just like I don't know why I like this, but I like this. And for a lot of people, I think that when soul first started hitting the airwaves, or music like that, the same thing with Elvis with rock music. That's when it started. Like, this is giving a voice to something that's been itching in the back of my head, but I don't really know why. Like, I'm just gonna enjoy it. And I think when it comes to any music, when you find it like that, take a cue from that and just go with it, enjoy it, and see where it goes. Scratch that itch. Those will be your closing thoughts for the day.
Well, those are your closing thoughts. There's one thing I haven't hit on yet.
What? I know what's coming. Go ahead and say.
Dump Trump. God damn it. Impeachment. He needs to be freaking impeached. That's right there is my sole passion. Just get him the hell out of office.
Almost made it.
He needs to be impeached. But yes, and we just had to do that. Sorry. But yes, I mean, what you stated about, the whole thing, your closing thought, which I think I may make into the thing there, Sascha's closing thoughts.
Have you ever wondered?
But I mean, I think you summed it up quite well with the whole, what music can do, what soul does, and different things. I mean, it's just a passion. It's something you're doing. So
Since I can't top what I just said, we'll close it off on those remarks. Those words of wisdom. All right, you guys have a good day.
All right, guys. See ya.